Good day. Are we live? I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Just confirm. Confirmed. How's it going, everyone? Happy Sunday. Hope you're all keeping well and staying safe. Today, we are going to have an unbiased look at the major global indices like we did the previous week. I can't remember when I did my last live stream. I wanted to do some live streams this week, but I was super busy. I think we did the last live stream on the 12th, the 13th, or the 14th. So it was a week ago. So let's have a little update. We're going to go have a look at the NAS 100, US30, S&P 500, Oz 200, Japanese 225, UK 100, and the Germany 30. Let me just have a little sip my tea. Look at this glorious day today. If you're from England, you know. Yorkshire tea or PG tips? That's the question on everyone's mind. Okay, so first we're going to look at the NAS 100. Let's just get a little macro view. So I'm doing an unbiased analysis. If you know me from my channel, then you know that I trade fundamentals. I start off by creating a fundamental bias, and then I'll use technicals to get the timing right. But apparently everyone only really cares about technical analysis. So that's what I'm going to do. So this is for your benefit. So we'll start off with a macro view, looking at the week, okay? The major views are the ones that drive the micro views, okay? So what's happening in the long term is usually the driver of what's happening in the short term. So we have been on a tremendous run for the NAS 100. We've got this nice trend sorted out here, and there's another trend here. So we've got a, let me just change the color of this. So we've got a very long-term trend here in green, and in the orange we've got a more short-term trend. This is the weekly view. So really this run started in January 2023. We had a big pullback at the start of this year. So in February 2025 to March, we had a big pullback, and it was around 26%. So in 49 days, which is super drastic. So I'm sure a lot of people got scared and burnt, but it was a really good time to make money if you were a short trader, obviously. So we're continuing this run. I think we're hitting all-time highs. We are definitely hitting all-time highs. Yes, this is extremely parabolic. Just looking at this from a technical angle, if I was looking at crypto and all that sort of stuff, this is what you would call a parabolic move, where it's just shot up into the stratosphere. We're hitting all-time highs now. One of my favorite trades, one of my favorite technical trading patterns is an all-time high breakout. So if we just see right here, so this was the all-time high, this line in blue. So we were hitting all-time high December 2024 to February 2025. We had a big rock at the start of 2025, but we've recovered from that pretty tremendously. We broke the previous all-time high on the 25th of June, and we've been running. So one of my favorite technical patterns is an all-time high breakout pattern where we push all-time highs. Obviously here, I tried to push all-time high, but it didn't break out. But here we push all-time high, and we've had a really, really nice run. I wouldn't really be interested in getting a position here for the long side. But as I said, this is an unbiased analysis. Like, I don't feel comfortable longing it up here, and I also wouldn't feel comfortable shorting it either, because I don't know how high this is going to run for. I got no idea how high this is going to run for. What run to? I think in my previous stream I said 25 to 26k or 25 to 25.5. So we'll see if it can get through this zone right here. Where is it? 25. It's like here. We'll see if it can get through this zone here. You can see on the left 25 to 255. So we'll see if we can get through there. And if not, if we start to pull up into this zone and show any sign of weakness, then I would be interested in taking a short position to the downside. And if I was, and I would have it something like, can't see, it's so sunny today, something like this, right? And I would be looking at closing my position somewhere in these uptrends. Obviously, if you had a really cataclysmic meltdown and we somehow found ourselves at this longer term trend, then I would be more interested in getting in. But that's what I'd be kind of feeling for a short position. I don't think it's really worth taking a short position now. I would definitely wait a little bit longer. And then for the long side, I don't know why I just removed that stuff. I needed it. For the long side, I would be looking at getting in. There's a bunch of zones that you can look at here. These support area here. Obviously, I'd want to go for the lowest one really. So like there, which is pretty close to this short-term uptrend. But this is a good position for a long. We're on the day. Hopefully it pulls back and then retouches all-time high levels. So possibly a 10 to 13% trade here, getting in at this level. I mean, you'd want to go as low as you can. I would want these two levels to get wicked out really, because you can see these lows forming around here. So I mean, really, between these two yellow lines, that would be my sweet spot really. I would love to see this get cracked. All these people get stopped out here, and then as it starts to get really cataclysmic, then we recover. We just kind of flex either side of this uptrend. So NAS, not really a good space for a long for me, not really in a good space for a short for me either. So yeah, but we're still running. As from my last stream, we're still just going. US30, if we look at the weekly like we did before, obviously nothing has changed. We are still running. So the NAS and the US30, they're very highly correlated. So if the NAS does something, then the US30 basically follows and vice versa. Okay, they have a positive correlation where if one goes up, the other goes up. If one goes down, the other goes down, etc., etc. So they're positively correlated. So seeing the same thing out of the US30 is pretty typical obviously on a weekly view. If we break that down and we look at the 4-hour view, I think I was saying in my last stream, I think this is where we were. Where were we? Yeah, the 11th, right? That's about it. Possibly. I could just find out right now, to be honest. Let's find out when I did that last stream. Let's find out. Let's find out. 9 days ago. It'd be good if I had a date. Are we live? It's my last stream. I have a date. Okay, never mind. 9 days ago. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Basically the 12th, right? So I did my last stream on 12th. So this is where we were when I did my last stream. And I marked out these zones in advance. And I was saying, these are good areas to potentially get in. We have this resistance, which turned to support, right? In the example that I gave of an apartment building, as you climb up the levels of the apartment building, the ceiling that was once above you becomes the floor when you're on top. So if you're below the level, it keeps you down, and if you're above the level, it keeps you up. So that's like a very simple way of understanding support and resistances. But I was saying that we are at this level right here, and we could, like I said, the same thing. I'm not really interested in taking a long. I would be much more interested in getting in at one of these levels, either this resistance turn support or this uptrend area. So we hit those two levels beautifully. So you could have had a really nice entry on the 16th. So I did my live stream on like the 12th, just after the weekend. You could have had a lovely entry on the 16th, 17th, blah, blah, blah. And you could be in some really nice profit right now. And then that's kind of like almost like a bread and butter position. I mean, that's pretty standard technical procedure, really. So You'd be up 1% roughly at the moment, so good job to the people that took it, but not the people that watched my live stream because no one watched it. I'm doing this for future evidence, not so much people are going to watch this right now because they're obviously not. I'm going to do this whole live stream and not anyone's going to see it, but that's okay. Look at it. I got my tea. Look at this gorgeous, magnificent day. Okay, so that's about it. Let me move on to the 1 day. Yeah, we can keep running. Don't know how high for, maybe 46.5, 47, but I'm still, if you didn't get in on that bounce off support on the 15th, sorry, on the 16th or the 17th, then I would be waiting again to either get in at this support or this uptrend. We have another level down here, but that would be possibly quite a ways out, considering we're looking at the daily and the 1 hour time frames. You could argue for a short. I don't know how high it'll go, but at least we have some sort of highs being set here. This one has just cracked. This wick has just cracked here. So you could potentially be getting in for a short position. I don't know what sort of target you'd be going for. Probably this uptrend, or maybe just target sweeping this low. You could go for that. But yeah, risk to reward, not amazing, but I don't know. There's one there that you could try and take a little scalp. You could be doing that today or over the next few days, but US30 definitely played out pretty nicely to what I said in the last live stream, which is good, but it doesn't really matter if you didn't take the position because that's just theorizing. You need to be getting your hands dirty. So let's move on to the S&P. Wow, such a nice day. Let me just have a little drag. Definitely not good for you, but definitely satisfying. All right, S&P. Again, start off of the week. Huge rally, going on a mad one. Looking pretty good. Obviously, nothing's really changed since the last live stream. Look at the 1 day. Again, nothing's really changed. So what I would want to do would be the same. If I was long, I'd try and be targeting this support area right here. I'd have a wide stop just in case it sweeps it for a couple pips, maybe target this area right here. We have a more short-term trend right here, which is interesting. We were just trading above the trend. And is this the daily view? Yeah, we were trading above the trend basically for the whole of last year, beginning of 2025. We had our collapse just like we had on the US30 and the NAS 100, and we've had a really nice recovery since. We just started hitting the top of this trend line using it as a resistance. So trends can also be resistances and supports. It's the same thing, but just angular, like trajectory. And now we've just broke above it. So this could be a really interesting long position right here. You could definitely play the momentum if you wanted to, but if you would have to do this as a scalp with a short stop loss. Even now, it's not really a great position. You'd want to be getting in right there as we cracked over it, but I would, that is way too much of a risk. So if you were to take a momentum play here to maybe target 7K, good psychological number, 7,000, then maybe that's a good play. But you would have to do it with a tight stop. I mean, I don't love the setup, of course, but if I was unbiased and if you were a momentum trader, this could very well be something that's in your book of trades. It could very well be one of your strategies. So again, short position, not really interested in the short at all because I don't see any structure forming at the top. I don't know how high this could go. This could go to, I don't know, 8,000, 9,000, but I think it will probably stop out at 7. But I've got no technical protection right? So for example, if you were to get in, hypothetically, if you were to get in here, what would most people do? They would obviously put their stop loss below these lows, right? But obviously, when you do that, this is a primitive, this is the best point, one of the good points to be looking for a long position. So for me, if I was to get in there, I would not feel good. I wouldn't feel confident about those lows actually holding, because if I start looking at it from a bullish perspective, then that's like my hunting territory is right there. I want to see those lows get cracked and whipped out, and then I want to get in somewhere in this zone. Like if I could double up, jumping in on this support level and double up, basically taking the positions from these people with their stops, then that looks pretty good to me. So yeah, that's just as an example. But I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't wait for that either. I would just, if you were going to do it, play the momentum right now, have just a super tight stop, and yeah, that's about it. You can make loads of money. So Oz 200. It's basically the same again as how we left it. Our last live stream on the 11th. So yeah, pretty much exactly the same. I don't think anything has changed. We've got this obviously big uptrend right here. We've got our shorter term trend in this area. So if I was looking at jumping in for a long, this is a nice spot that I would be targeting. Again, if you could combine 1, 2, 3 areas, then it just adds to the conviction of your position. So getting in around these lows, maybe under these lows, getting these lows cracked, have this cracked at the same time. So this little quadrant right here would be my box for going long, and you could get your stop loss somewhere below these lows, or if you're not risking a lot, you could go all the way below here. But yeah, for target upside, I think I would just be going for the highs, just to crack the highs. What's the psychological level? So if we crack that high, we've already cracked the psychological level of 9,000. So going for 9.5, 9,250, they all sound pretty good. But somewhere in this zone, the better. Obviously, the lower in this zone I go, the less I have to risk. So I would want to be getting a really good position really below these wicks getting cracked. That'd be really, really nice, because you're already below the trend at that point, and then you're pretty close to here. So I think getting a position here-ish, well, it depends when it happened, because if it happened right there, that would almost be perfect. But you'd have to wait to take that trade. You have to see if you get there at April, right? So yeah, that's what I'd do for a long. For a short, yeah, if we come back up to these highs, then potentially, yeah, I would get into a short position, because we're at the psychological level of 9,000. Psychological levels, if you don't know what they are, they're basically whole numbers, like 1, 2, 5, 10, 50, 100. They're like big units. When something is at $88, what do people imagine? They imagine seeing it at triple digits, at 100. And that's the level that drives a lot of emotion, right? So if something's at 50 cents, what level do you like see in your mind for it to go to, for your lips to start getting wet? It's $1, right? So they're pretty easy to understand. So if we're at 8,822, the level that people have got their sights on is 9,000. That's the closest psychological level. So that's the case for the Oz 200. If you have any questions, by the way, let me know. Just send me post a comment under this video. And if you haven't done so already, hit the sub button, because it's really hard to get people to care about this sort of stuff. Trading, it's just seen as a very ego-driven, money-hungry, sort of above the shoulders, like just bollocks. So it's not what I'm trying to do. I really enjoy trading. It's fucking awesome. So yeah, if you like it, if you like trading too, actually trading for real, taking it seriously, not just doing these stupid gamble bets with all your money and swinging hard and just losing prop firm accounts or any of that crap, then you should get involved with the channel, really. Moving on. Japanese 225. I mean, that's pretty much the same again. Nothing's really changed. It's still on this run. I think you guys know what my theory would be here. I don't know why that was there. I'm not sure what I was doing. But if you were taking a long position, yeah, you could be targeting this area right here. We had the opportunity on Friday the 19th. I'm probably sure I did say that I would want to be getting in that area. I think I used the wrong one, but I'll have to go check out the live stream. But getting in this area right here, pretty good position. After I did the live stream on, what day is it? On the, what was it, the 11th? Yeah, 11th or 12th here. Traded above this level, had a nice run, pulled all the way back to this level. So that was a really beautiful position to get in. Long or short, I wouldn't really want to do either right now. I think it's not in a good place for a short, and I don't think it's particularly attractive for a long. So I will do a new update on the 225 later, but nothing really interesting, to be honest. UK 100 doesn't look so good. I did the live stream again on the 11th or 12th up here. And I was saying that, yeah, we could have this. What was I doing? That was another unbiased live stream, but I'm pretty sure I'm saying again on the 225, you could play the momentum 9-3 to, I don't know, 9-6, something like that. But didn't really work out. We have had a pullback to the downside, which is completely okay. You'd have to go back and check what I said on the live stream. We've just hit this trend right here, which is really nice. So it's not in a bad spot for a long, to be honest. You'd be longing it in this area. Wouldn't really long it right now unless it starts breaking these highs. But I would love to get a long at these lows. Even if we could wick this last low here, that'd be awesome. See, I did the same thing again. Here we go. If we could hit this last low here, that'd be really nice for a long position. For a short, yeah, it's actually not bad for a short position either. I would just take it as a scalp right now, get in right now, and get my stop just above these highs right here, and maybe play it to either target this area right here, or if we're super lucky, if it breaks down this zone like this. Get my pen. Where's my pen? Here we go. If it breaks down this zone right here and starts using this as a resistance, then that would be really, really good. And then you could potentially add to your position right there on the X. So yeah, pretty good short position. I mean, it's all right. Technically not phenomenal, but it's not in a bad place for sure. It's not in a bad place for a long or a short. So we'll have to see. This is when fundamental bias is huge because you don't really know what to do. So you can either flip a coin and just pick one, or you can have like actual statistical reason to go short, for example, like the inflation change or the unemployment rates or something, right? Or GDP or something. So moving on, last one, the German 30. Again, looking on the hourly view, this has been running for ages too. We have a trend forming up. We have a couple of resistances forming up. So I'm not hugely confident in it breaking to the upside. But then again, the American market basically does drive the global economy, and the American market's doing pretty good. So this breaking out of these trends to the long is something that could happen to the long side. We could just as easily carry on this trend that's starting to develop. But again, this is really the let me just get this box right here. Where is it? Where is it? I'm so confused. I keep losing where this stuff is. What's my blind, man? I'll just use this. I was going to write something in a box. Okay. So we are coming into this zone right here. So it's not a bad area to take a longer term long. If you look at the 4 hours, I mean, we're pretty bullish. We are really far away from any sort of longer term uptrend level. So this could be the start of a pullback, or we could just be flexing in the middle of this trend right here, and we could rally up to break new all-time highs. So we'll see what happens. It's a really interesting time in the markets. I just posted a video about a one-to-one session I did yesterday where I was talking about bond yields. If you haven't seen it already, I highly recommend you go and check it out. I've got a video about bond yields, and I've got a video about GDP and S&P correlations and stuff. So I am aware that nobody really cares about fundamental analysis, but I want the channel to grow, I have to do what the market wants and also kind of drip feed what I want you to want to watch, right? Because the fundamental analysis stuff, it's obviously not as sexy and as fun as looking at technicals and pulling the trigger on charts and stuff like that. But the fundamental analysis is what drives the direction. Like if you don't know whether to go long or short, it's because you don't have a fundamental bias. So I'm trying to introduce that slowly into my content for you to watch. So that's what I predominantly do. But this has just been a look at the technicals. So thanks very much for checking out the live stream, everyone. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't done already. I'd really appreciate it. And to all my 11 subscribers, I salute you. You give me purpose and a reason to continue. Because sometimes, obviously, you just can't be bothered. I could just carry on, just doing my own thing. But it's really nice to just verbalize your stuff into existence. It's pretty nice to just talk it out and, I don't know, have people that share the same interests. It's awesome. All right, guys. Keep well, stay safe, have a lovely Sunday. And I'll try and do a live stream sometime in the next few days. I should set up a regular day and just go for a Friday evening or a Sunday. Maybe a Sunday would be better before the market opens. But I'm going to put that in place. But at the moment, my calendar is pretty hectic. So yeah. Anyway, thanks a lot, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.